All right. Welcome to our Tuesday Tips from the Top. My name is Cami Pentecost, and I am so excited to be here with you all today with Lucy Bouchers. Right? Did I say that right?
Bouchers.
Bouchers. I knew there was a twist to it. Lucy Bouchers. Well, y'all are going to want to write this down because this will be maybe one of the first times you guys have heard from Lucy, but it's definitely not going to be the last, that's for sure. And we had an opportunity to hear from Lucy in Nashville at our Nashville Road Rally, and Lucy's got quite the story. So as we jump in here, which I can see, you must be traveling.
Yes, we are literally in Clearwater right now. Hot Mess Express over here. But honestly, that's something that I love is I'm able to just pick up and go. I literally have my phone propped on pizza box right now, but it's part of life. So
part of running a business from your phone, right? A very successful one at that.
Yeah, and I would love, it's crazy. We were actually supposed to come down Wednesday and we came down early just because my mom was like, oh, I want to come. So I actually brought her down a few days early so we could spend some time together too. So, but I'm Lucy Bouchers. I've been in this business. It'll actually be 7 years this month, which is so crazy. Before this business, I was a CNA. I was working 100+ hours and still had nothing to show for it. I was literally all the time asking my mom, can I have $20? Can I have $20? Just here and there, because I literally had no money and I couldn't work any more hours, right? So my husband is actually in the military, and we got to his first duty station, which was in Florida. And, I was pregnant with our second, and I was like, okay, I looked up childcare just to kind of see how much it was going to be. And it was way more than what I would ever even make. So I had seen people posting online about doing this, and it got me kind of curious. And I was like, look, life right here. My phone fell down. It's fine.
There goes that pizza box holder.
That pizza box. Someone messaged me, and here we go. Right. But I had people posting, and I just was kind of curious. I asked about it. I told my husband, I was like, hey, what about this? He was like, no, don't do that. It's not real. You'll do this a month and you'll quit. And so the next day, I'm super hard-headed. The next day I signed up. And what's so crazy, I signed up in April. I was pregnant with my daughter. I was due with her in September. And when I started, I was like, I need to prove him wrong. So that was my why was I'm going to prove him wrong until I have my daughter, and then I'll go back to our normal job or whatever. But by the time I had my daughter, I was already making quite a bit of income with this, and I hadn't even promoted yet. So I was like, well, maybe I can just stay home. And I guess that's really when the wheels started turning, and I was like, okay, well, what do I need to do to go Ruby? What do I need to do to go Emerald, Diamond, so on and so forth. So 10 months in, I went diamond. 11 months in, I went double diamond. And now I'm a triple diamond, almost 7 years in the business. And honestly, this has been the biggest blessing. So, if you have someone that's skeptical, you need to really send them a voice memo and let them know how this opportunity can truly change their lives. Because, for me, my daughter will be 7 this year. I haven't missed any moments with her. My son, I'm present to every game, everything, right? He doesn't even know what life is like to not see me in the stands. And then just the opportunities that we've been able to do because of this business has truly been amazing.
So name one. Give me one example of an opportunity that you've been able to do because of this business.
So now we're able to travel just whenever we want to, right? We're able to, example, this weekend, I was able to be like, hey, do you want to come with me, or do you want to go a few days early and just book something, just to be able to spoil my mom, and, because she used to give me so much growing up, but just being able to do that. And then also, something else that I did was I opened up a savings account for my mom, and every single month I put money in her account just for her.
That's amazing. What a gift. I can think of how many people listening to this would love to give back to the family that's given so much to them growing up, especially because even after the pandemic, we see so many people struggling. And obviously every time we have someone new in office, things change with retirements and Social Security. And so just that extra that extra can go a long way for sure. Well, Lucy, here's the deal. This is a new platform for delivering our tips from the top that we're doing. We're pre-recording these Zoom style so they're accessible, that people can refer back to, that when they want to have somebody read your story in particular, or hear your story, or a tip that you give today that really gives them just another tool in their toolbox to transform their business. And the first thing is, the reason I had you start with your stories, because I truly believe success is an identity process. And until people can identify with people having success, that they're not sure it's possible. But after they can hear a story like yours, you were a CNA, maybe it's the part where, you were working 100 hours a week and there was just no more time to add anything else, but you still didn't have any extra money at the end of the month. I think a lot of those things people can relate with. And then even hearing that your daughter, being 7 years old, she's never known any different, right? She's always had you and you haven't missed a moment. And since your son's been old enough to really have memories, he also thinks you're just that mom that's always in the stand. I mean, all of those things, I'm sure, hit a chord in such a way that people truly go, I want that. I want that. So tell me kind of how you got started and how you're building on a regular basis. I know we've had some extensive communication on how you support your team and how you're growing your team, but I want you to share that with our listeners.
Yeah. So, I think for me, when you first start a business like this is not something that a lot of people are used to. And
There we go again.
every time someone messages me, it's going to fall down, I guess. But this is something that I feel like it's a learning process. So whether, you're brand new or you've been in the business for 2 years, first of all, I think you have to give yourself grace. And I think you have to figure out what kind of leader that you want to be. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But I think that giving yourself task or giving yourself okay, let me get uncomfortable doing this, really just having those relationships with your team too. I think that's what's going to turn people into the leader that they want to be, because I am definitely not the same person that I was when I first started. I am a very, very strong grid. And when I first started this business, I kind of was like, okay, I got this. I'll do this by myself. And through the process now, it's I know how to talk to these different color personalities. And I think that something that's just been super, super huge for my team is, I pour into my people. I talk to my people. We get on the phone. We have these conversations. But this past year, I was actually on a call with you and you had said something about pouring into your people. And, what I thought about was oh my gosh, there's a disconnect where I'm pouring into my people, but they're not pouring into their people. And at the end of the day, I'm only one person. I wish I could have a clone of me for all of my team, but I can't. But if I'm giving them and I'm pouring into them, they can pour into their people, and that's going to help them with their leadership too. So that has been honestly one of the biggest things, because I can tell a huge difference. There are people that, maybe weren't even commission qualified in January that are now, blocked for Ruby. And it's all because their leadership showing up, their people are calling them, they're building those relationships. And I think that is super, super huge in this business, because we're in a building relationship business.
Okay. So let's pause there for a minute. I feel like when this really hit home for you is ever since the the conception of Four and a Friend, right? And I'm not saying you weren't pouring into your people before then, but obviously you see that massive disconnect. If you're doing tier 1 and your people are maybe even doing a tier 1 themselves, but beyond that, if it's not going further, you're realizing there's a disconnect. Or if other people besides you aren't, earning success bonuses, there's a disconnect. So did this start kind of when that?
Yeah, for sure. And, like I said, I think sometimes when you hear other people talk, something sticks out to you. And I don't know what it was, but that day on that Zoom, I was like, oh my gosh, why haven't I noticed this? Why haven't I seen this? And I think for me, that's when the Four and a Friend was really starting. People were trying to learn it and process it. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, we've got to change something up here.
So, okay. So you recognize a gap. That's first, right? You got a recognition. Oh, okay. Something's not firing there. How did you begin making the intentional adjustments to see that change? Because it's one thing to say you want, oh, my people aren't doing it. But it's another thing to get your people to actually do it and to see that really take off.
Yeah, so what I did was I got on the phone with all of my leaders and I was like, hey, I want you, let's just say 5 people for right now. I want you to pick 5 people in your organization. I don't care if you enrolled them or if you did enroll, like, I don't care, you know? And I want you making sure every single week you're getting on the phone with them. You could have a 15-minute conversation. You could have a 2-hour conversation, right? Whatever you feel like you need to do to really build those relationships. And then I said, I also want you texting me the names of the people that you are pouring into, because I want to be able to track to see if this is something that could really connect for a lot of people. So that's what I did. I had them text me the names, and I've just been kind of watching them in my team chat, just kind of seeing how they're doing. And it's crazy, the people that are just taking off.
Okay, so how are you inspecting what you're expecting? Because it's one thing to say, I want you on the phone every week with 5 people. I love that you didn't necessarily say it had to be personally enrolled. It can be just somebody within your organization, but how are you making sure that's getting done?
Because I think I'm getting on the phone with them too every single week, and I'm texting them like, hey, how did this go? You know, I'm following up with them, kind of how we do in the business, but I'm following up with them to make sure that they're doing the things that they need to do too.
Got it. And what's the change you're already seeing, whether it's you're seeing it in your reports or you're hearing them say it?
Well, it's so crazy how many people are just like stepping up to the plate. And like, you know, people that maybe hadn't enrolled customers in the past, now they're booming. They're bringing in 14 easies. They're, you know what I'm saying? They're bringing in the BBs. They're signing their own distributors. And then they're loud and proud in the chat too. You know, I have a girl that just in the last month or so, she has been showing up. I mean, she's almost blocked for Ruby. And this girl has been in the business for a while, but she didn't have that connection. And now that she does, she is like on fire.
Okay, so all I'm hearing you say is very practically, you are asking your people to just have a more intentional relationship with a minimum of 5 people on their team. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah.
What are you personally seeing as a result? Like, I was talking to a double diamond the other day who her volume went from like barely 20,000 in September, or maybe that was at the end of December, I'm sorry, to like her volume is at like 50,000 this month already. And that's how she's seeing this For and a Friend steamroll, right?
Well, I think for me too, I think that, you know, we go over this For and a Friend like just about every week. Every first of the month, we're going over it because, you know, I understand that it can be confusing, but once it clicks, it clicks. And it's crazy how many people are just enrolling their own 240s, right? They're making it a goal to get it by the 5th of the month or the 4th of the month, but then they're bringing in their new distributors too, and they're building themselves. And I think that's, you know, I've always been like a strong distributor enrollment, but like enroller. But I think the big difference is like these people are building their own teams. They're building their own teams. They're bringing in their own volume. And then I think that they're just learning like how to go Ruby. Okay, well, I can go Ruby. What can I go in 90 days? I'm getting excited for that.
Well, and something I hear you saying, even though you're not saying it, is it's empowering, right? Like,
yeah,
if somebody's doing it for you all the time, how disempowering is that? How much do you feel like, well, they must not believe in me or think I can do this because they're doing it for me, you know? And so that's what I hear of as you're saying that too, is just how much you're empowering. And I'm also hearing you say repetition. And y'all, I'm going to say that again, because I've said that from the very beginning. Us as a corporate team can only talk about For and a Friend and 14 Easy so much, and it's going to reach so many people. It's going to take all of us doing our part with the influence that we hold in our corner of the company for this message to truly trickle down. And only then will the duplication actually be on fire, you know? And then that's where the magical things happen that you hear about this industry. But because it takes all of us rowing in the same direction with the same intention. Now, you might have some different scripts of how you're selling 14 Easy. You might have some different strategies for how you onboard new people to complete your cycles of For and a Friend. But the bottom line is, we know the system is For and a Friend, 14 Easy, qualified legs, go Ruby. How, you know, 3 rubies create a diamond, and we want them to be fat rubies or healthy rubies, maybe we should say, not fat rubies, because then we know we're going to create healthy diamonds, and we know that means we're going to be maximizing the comp plan on every level. And so again, here you are at the beach this week, and I can't think of a better way for you to not only have time with your kids and the flexibility and freedom to afford it and have time with them, but to know that your business is still growing, even while maybe you're taking some time for your family and for yourself.
1,000%. Yeah. And it's crazy, but normally I feel like I would have to worry like, oh, is the momentum still here? Are people still here? But there's so many people that are stepping up to the plate, and because those relationships are being built and they're not shy anymore, they're like, let's go, let's do this. And so many people are stepping up to the plate and they're like, hey, go enjoy your vacation. I have this, I have that. And that's kind of what you want in your organization. You want to know that you're able to step away from your phone for a minute or a day or whatever, and you don't have to worry because other people have you.
Oh, you let go of it for 1 second. So tell me other than what you just shared with me, is there any other benefits since we have implemented Four and a Friend and the packs versus just pick 2, pick 3 and the discounted products and discounted BV? What have you truly enjoyed about the change of all these things?
Well, I honestly like that there's a direction for one. I like that we're able to say Four and a Friend, and it's not complicated. It's simple, right? Once it clicks, it clicks. So I really like that, because I think when you bring someone in brand new, you want them to go Ruby ASAP, right? But if you're teaching that Four and a Friend, Four and a Friend, Four and a Friend, do it again, then essentially you're going to set them up for Ruby by themselves. And then it's going to click more. So I really just like the fact that, like I said, it's simple. You know what to do. You know that you're teaching Four and a Friend, and that's what you're trying to do. For me, I try to do like, okay, 2 weeks, get your customers, 2 weeks for a distributor. That way we're not trying to necessarily, okay, let's get Four and a Friend right here, 24 hours. And, obviously I can tell within the first 72 hours how a distributor is going to do. And I definitely don't want to overwhelm them, but you get to determine the pace too. So I like to push my people. Let's get these customers. Let's knock out this 240. And then we have more time to get a friend too.
Well, are you even talking 240? Because let me ask you this. If you're teaching the 14 easy systems, you're not even talking, 240, because at this point we're teaching them how to be a qualified leg, whether they realize it or not.
Exactly. And then too, it's just going to set them up so much easier to go Ruby and go Emerald and go to these other ranks too.
Okay. So before I ask you a little bit of some of the things you do to help a new person get started, let's piggyback off. You told your leaders to pick 5 people and get on the phone with them each week. Can you, after how long did you say, or did you not say, I'm asking you, how long did you say, okay, now pick a new 5 people or add 5 more? Like, what does that look like?
So we haven't got into like the 5 more yet. I haven't gave them like a time, because I kind of wanted to see, like, within the next 4 to 6 weeks, how are these people going to do? Who's showing up? Kind of just like a report of like, okay, well, this person is now booming, excited. Okay, we can go to someone else, so we haven't said, okay, let's pick 5 more. We've just kind of been like, okay, let's do these, see how it turns out, and then we'll go further with it.
Well, and just in my experience, I always use the example of, I would lock arms with someone till they were diamond and double. I'd start to kind of loosen up my grip as they were double. And then as soon as they were triple, they really became part of my like round table conversations and leader retreats. But at the same time, I had to give much more direct attention to the new rising stars, right? But what I found too is like, if I was focusing on 5, I could continue to focus on those 5 and bring on maybe another 2 or 3, like, have you found 2 or 3 more that you should be talking to every day? Maybe you don't have to spend as much time talking to the 5, stay connected to them weekly, but let's start bringing in a couple new, just so that they're already in the pipeline, bringing in those next people. Cause you and I know it doesn't take many people for you to all of a sudden have a diamond, double, triple business,
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I think that's too something that we're going to have to transition to too, you know, bringing in more people. We've got our 5. We see that, you know, these 5 are doing good, or, you know, we see how these people are doing. Let's bring in a few more and kind of transition, because too, like, the momentum is here right now. So why not?
Well, okay. So talk to me a little bit, kind of give me 2, 3, 4 steps that you kind of do when you bring in a new person, and then that maybe you're telling your team, hey, this is what we do when a new person joins our business.
So I actually have a new distributor board. And
Ooh.
this is how I train to a T. It's simple, it's not complicated. And I think that it helps my team, especially, you just think when you first signed up a brand new distributor, you were like, I don't know what to do. But this is kind of like a system in place where you can kind of just look at it and, you know, change it to you, but you can look at it. But
Is it a checklist?
it's
Is it like a checklist?
yeah, I mean, it would kind of be like a checklist. Yeah. Cause I mean, what I do is when the person signs up, I get them to screenshot, send me their website. And then I kind of just ask them like what their goals are. And I think too, I like to keep it simple too. So these things that I'm saying, it's basic stuff that we do every day, you know, every time we sign up a distributor. But I ask them their goals. I give them a post to put up, just basically saying like, hey, here I am, you know, I'm doing something new. And then once they do that, I tell them the difference in customers, like what's a loyal customer, what's a retail customer. And the goal is to hit this many customers before Friday, so you can get that $50 bonus paid out the next week.
Well, and you guys, what I love about Lucy breaking this down really simple is, like she said, you might have some people that even though you say, can you do this by Friday, it's going to be the next week, Wednesday, and they're still not going to have it done. So then you can really dig in there and go kind of what's holding you back, right? Like, is it fear? Should we help message together? How much more hands-on do I need to be? And notice I didn't say walk away, they're not worth your time. I didn't say that. You know, usually there's a reason that they haven't done it by Friday, but you're giving a little test. On the other hand, if they get it done by Thursday morning, you're like, all right, this person's in it. Let's go. Let's pick it up a few notches, right?
Yeah. And I think too, if you give them, you know, like, okay, let's get this done by Friday, right? That way you can already see them winning when they get that $50 bonus, right? But then also you're able to see in the first few days, kind of, are they someone that's ready to run? Are they hungry right now? Are they someone that like, let's take a step back and let's walk them through it. And I think that's just something that's super important too, because I obviously don't want to give someone task every single day when they haven't responded to my first message.
And a confused mind says no, y'all. And just because somebody is moving at a snail's pace doesn't mean their pace may not pick up, or that it's just fear and they got to overcome some things. But my gosh, one of my greatest frustrations with you guys, when I say you guys, all of you listening right now, is when you write someone off because they're not moving at the speed in which you think they should be moving. And we have to remember we're all here for very different reasons, very different goals, but also very different time that we might have to give. Like I came in like a wild woman knowing I wanted to go pedal to the metal, but that's the minority of people, not the majority of people. And most people are very part-time and like me, with little to no experience in this, but yet I had the background that knew the power of this industry, which made me hungry to go out there and learn as much as I could, as fast as I could, because I was looking at this as being my vehicle. That's not everybody's story. And yet, y'all, knowing I got started like that, guess what? It still took me 6 months to sign my first distributor. Y'all would have given up on me a long time ago. And yet look at what time allowed me to become. And I think sometimes that's really what it is. And so I love that you're encouraging them to get on the phone with 5 people a week. I just think that's such a practical tool and strategy to really teach duplication and building that relationship.
Yeah. And, you know, also something that I do too is I try to get on the phone with my brand new distributors, especially if they're like not responding to me. I think that, you know, so many people join this business, they don't know what they're signing up for, right? They don't understand the opportunities in this business. They just don't know, right? They're used to maybe like a 9-to-5 job. But I also think when I get on the phone with these people, they hear that I'm real. they see that I'm real, like if I FaceTime them. But also what I've found is like so many people they're just afraid. And so if I'm on the phone and I'm like, hey, I'm here to help you. Like, I know how you felt because I felt this way too. And just kind of showing them like, you're not by yourself for feeling this way. We've all felt that way. I think that they're more like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let me do this. And then they're more on board with it too.
Okay. So, all right. Anything else from your board for your new distributor training that you want to share with me?
Well, after I do all that, I get them into Host to Post. I have a video that I posted probably 2 years ago, and it just goes over Host to Post, and then we just get them on in and Host to Post. Really.
What do you do? I'm going to throw you a curveball right now
Okay.
and I'll tell you why, but what do you do when someone's just really Host to Post is not a method for them?
Well, so here's the thing. Before Host to Post, I signed up everyone. Like, I got to double by Instagram. Okay. So I am not someone that is just Facebook or just whatever. I'm on TikTok. I'm doing reels. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook. So if Host to Post just isn't a thing for them, we're like, okay, what about TikTok? Where are you out there? Just different social medias, platforms. Where are you at with that? And it's crazy how people will be like, oh, well, I already have like 2,000 friends on Instagram. And so then we'll just go over there. And, honestly, what I do try to do, because this is how I've grown outside of my area, is my Instagram friends, I try to get them over to my Facebook to grow in different areas. And so that's something that I would definitely get them to do too, is like, okay, well, let's go message and let's go do this and swap them over to there too.
I love that. Do you know why? Because here's the deal. There's a reason there's such a thing as color personalities. We're not all the same hardwiring. And I can tell you this, Lucy, if I thought I had to do host to post my whole life, I would die in my seat because I have to be with people. And yet I know when I was building, not everybody was comfortable doing parties. Not everybody was comfortable, doing pop-up shops. And so we really had to have a variety of tools in our toolbox to help the people that joined our team. Not everybody's going to fit into a round hole. Some people are square pegs, not round pegs. And so I think being able to have options, being prepared for diversity is really powerful. And so I hear you saying you've got that. And obviously COVID really, locked us into social media, which again, thankful for that gift. But now that things are opening up more, we have even more at our fingertips for how we can build this business. And I think we need to have an arsenal of tools, y'all, that can help our people be successful, because not everybody fits one mold when they join this business. And so again, that relationship piece, though, is going to help you with that. If the reason they're dying on the vine is because you only have one method for them to build, so anyways, even if you only have one method to build, but they're blue, and so they likely can't sit behind a computer all day, every day, because they need to have a little bit more fun in their life and variety, that will help you understand that personality that much more. Well, Lucy, thank you so much for joining me today. I've been super excited to get your name out there and to, just kind of start elevating you as a leader, because you're so consistent and you're so strong. Your numbers continue to grow. You're doing the right things. And I know we have a lot more that we can learn from you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored. This is my first big Zoom. So my team's like, when can I watch this? When to see you?
It'll be next Tuesday. It'll be tomorrow. So okay. I'll be posting this on the Road to VIP and the VIP page on Tuesday. And the other thing I just want to ask before we close today is if there's one more thing you could share, let's say there's one more thing you could share and your team is watching this, and there's something you want to impress upon them, what would that be?
So I think something that is just so huge, and I think this is something that we hear frequently, is like, don't look left, don't look right. Look at what's in front of you. Focus on your own business and see, if you set a task, let's just say it's 10 Host to Post a day. Make sure before your head hits the pillow at night, you're doing that. Because in order to grow, it's so easy to say, oh, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to go to Diamond. I'm ready to grow to this rank. But your actions is what's going to get you there. And you're going to be so happy that you did it now versus 6 months from now wishing that you would have. So get started today. Don't make any excuses. Don't make any excuses, and make sure you get this done before your head hits the pillow every single night.
I love that. I love that. Oh, that's so good. I'm taking notes, by the way. If you wonder what I'm doing over here, I'm always taking notes because I'm always learning, y'all. And if you ever stop learning, that's a really scary place for you to be in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Lucy,
And if I can have my phone sitting here on a pizza box doing this Zoom, you can do it too.
I love it. I love it. Well, you blew me away in Nashville. Thank you again for your time here for our tips from the top. And just for those of you that are listening today, pass this around. Make sure your team sees this. Every Tuesday, we're going to be dropping a new tips from the top training on our Road to VIP and VIP page. And I just want to say thank you again for participating. For those of you listening now, if you've got an upline, a sideline, someone in your downline doing something that you're like, people need to hear this, make sure that you pass their name on to your regional sales manager, myself, Adrian, because we want to get them in the hopper to make sure they get highlighted on one of these calls. Thank you all for being here. And Lucy, enjoy your vacation.
Thank you.
All right, hold on one second.